Ucranian KOR Sports are here with the one and only Tom Loeffler here. As you can see behind him, Hollywood Fight Nights tomorrow on UFC Fight Pass. Man, it's a great one. You got Callum Walsh in the main event, Sergey Bulachek on the co-main. You got Tony Ferguson right there behind you. But man, a great card, man. Tell me about it.
No, we're really excited about this card, Steve. UFC Fight Pass, we appreciate the support of Dana White and the UFC. We're really able to grow boxing on the UFC Fight Pass channel. This will be Callum Walsh's fourth time headlining UFC Fight Pass. He's getting a big following, and whenever you can combine him in the featured fight along with Sergey Bulachek in a WBC Continental America's title fight, it's a tremendous show. Callum's fighting; he's 4-0 right now. He's fighting Dylan Parsley from Las Vegas, who's 13-1. You saw Callum right there, and Tony, like you said, Tony Ferguson's going to be there tomorrow for all you UFC fans. He's going to be there tomorrow. He's actually working the corner with Callum Walsh. So he'll be there. And anyway, so we have a lot of celebrities coming out. I just wasn't sure who I should mention. Yeah. But so then you have Sergey Bulachek fighting Aaron Coley. Aaron Coley, 16-4, but 3 out of those 4 losses were split decision losses. Very close fights. So we're excited about that. And Chucky Barrera sold a ton of tickets for this show. That's what's great, is that we sell out the Quiet Cannon. You get a huge energy in the crowd, and it translates well on TV. Everyone, you got to give a shout out to our matchmaker Chuck Boziker. He matches the fights evenly, and that's what the fans want to see with boxing. They want to see even competitive fights that are exciting, and that's the formula we've been putting on, and that's what the fans are responding. The ratings for boxing on Fight Pass are going up significantly.
Yeah, I was talking to your matchmaker. What's your matchmaker's name?
Chuck Boziker.
Chuck, yeah, he's great at what he does, and the fights are always competitive on there. So I'm sure UFC Fight Pass. You just want to watch some good scraps. Definitely go on there. It's Callum's 5th fight. His last fight, he hurt his hand, went the distance. He told me earlier, he was like, I don't like going the distance. He's not a fan of doing that. I mean, you seem to keep finding guys that are not a fan of the final bell.
Well, definitely along the lines of Klitschko's and Triple G, and that's what makes exciting fights. That's how you can build the audience. And he saw everything that happened with Triple G. We opened the doors for him. But if he wasn't putting on exciting fights, if he wasn't knocking guys out in the ring, fans wouldn't come to see him fight. And that's what I really think with the Triple G phenomenon. With his Mexican style and with the exciting fights, that's what allowed us to grow his Mexican fan base, because the Mexican fans are one of the most astute, some of the most astute fans, but they want to see exciting fights. They don't want to see 12-round boxing matches and you hope for a decision at the end. Triple G took it out of the judges' scorecards most of the time, probably 90% of the time. And Callum Walsh is along the same lines. Trains with Freddie Roach. Freddie is known for his offensive training skills. You saw what happened with Manny Pacquiao when Manny was, really dominating his divisions. And Callum is another southpaw that can punch. So he fits along perfectly with Freddie's strategy, and Callum fits along perfectly what Dana accomplished with the great Conor McGregor. So, with the Irish fan base, we're really looking to grow Callum's legend on UFC Fight Pass.
Yeah, you're doing a great job as usual, Tom, with Callum. You mentioned Triple G. Obviously enjoying his time off now after the Canelo fight. I know he has, I believe, 2 of the middleweight belts, correct? Yes. Is there any plans on, I'm sure he's just kind of taking the time off now, but have you guys spoke about, does he have a date he wants to get back? Does he want to defend those? Is he maybe done with boxing? I don't know.
He's got the IBF and the WBA belts and mandatories, so he's just kind of figuring out what he's going to do. He's still, like you said, taking some time off after that fight, one of the biggest fights still in the sport of boxing, the trilogy with Canelo, which was closer on the scorecards for this one than the first 2, which was a little bit, maybe they were making up for the first 2 fights. But look, at 40 years old, he's still competing at the highest level of the sport of boxing, and I think he's still going to provide a lot of excitement for his boxing fans all around the world.
Just real going back to this card, Boacek and Callum were sparring together.
They were sparring,
Have you ever had a card where
Which is
kind of the co-main
interesting.
and main guys were sparring against each other?
Yeah, never had that before, but it just happened to work out where they're both in the same division, so same weight division, and naturally fighting on the same date. And it came about because Boacek is fighting Aaron Coley, who's a southpaw. So it was perfect sparring with Callum Walsh, and Callum's fighting right-handed, Dylan Parsley. So it worked out. And Freddie Roach and Manny Robles, they actually had Manny Robles came to the gym before because he had Virgil Ortiz sparring with Callum Walsh. So it was just the same thing again with Boacek. And it's like one of those things where you say iron sharpens iron. That was some of the highest level sparring I've seen in a long time, where two real accomplished professionals in the ring at a super high boxing IQ going at it against each other. One fighter I forgot to mention that's on the show is Omar Trinidad, featherweight, local fighter that we signed at 360 Promotions. We're excited about him. He's in a very tough fight against his record is 13-2 is the opponent's record. So Omar is not in any easy fights either. So the whole card is going to be exciting tomorrow. It's actually the doors at Quiet Cannon here at the Montebello Country Club. They open at 5:30. Then we have Chantal Navarro, who's on she's a featured amateur fighter. She's sponsored by Nike already, and you've heard of her family, the Carlos Navarro, Jose Navarro, Nacho Navarro. And she's part of the next generation. Chantal Navarro and Steven Navarro are part of the next generation. And she's sponsored by Nike. She's 17 years old, 6-time U.S. amateur junior champion. And we're excited to have her on the show. And then the UFC Fight Pass starts at 7 o'clock here Pacific time, 10 p.m. East Coast time. And it's like 3 o'clock in the morning Irish time for all your Irish fans. And probably a couple hours later than that, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning in Ukraine for the Boacek fans over there.
Just came to mind when you mentioned the amateur fight you got on. No Pacquiao this time. I feel like Pacquiao's been on the last couple shows.
Manny Jr. Was supposed to be on the show. Apparently he had some issue with training. Not issue, but as far as not being ready, having just a slight injury. So no setback or anything like that, but he just wasn't able to be on this show. But we're always happy to have Manny Jr. on the show. He brings a lot of attention to the ring for his fights with that legendary boxing name, and looking forward to having on a future show.
Yeah, hopefully. Just last, I just want to get your take on this. It was a big kind of blow for the boxing community. Earl Spence Crawford didn't come to fruition.
Those super fights aren't easy to make. I was going to say it was really hard for us to make the first Triple G Canelo fight. If you remember, Canelo had vacated the title a year earlier, so then if he wasn't obligated to fight him, it was even harder to make that fight. We made a lot of concessions on the Triple G side as the champion. If you remember, Triple G had three of the titles, three of the belts at middleweight. And so we made a lot of concessions to get that fight done. But at the end of the day, it provided a huge fight for the fans. Triple G knew it would be great for his career, and unfortunately, the scoring in that first fight was a little bit strange to say the least. But it worked out financially for both guys, and for the fans for sure.
Tom, thank you so much, brother, for your time, and tell the fans. So UFC Fight Pass starting at 7 p.m.
Yes.
Pacific time, 10 Eastern, 3 a.m. Irish time?
3 a.m. Irish time. I believe that is. I'm not sure if they changed their time or not, but the great thing about UFC Fight Pass is you can see it all over the world. Whether, like I said, whether it's Boacek's fans in Ukraine, who it's anytime a Ukrainian fighter now is fighting in the ring. You just saw Loma fight last week. You saw Usyk fighting over there, defending his heavyweight championships. And so the Ukrainian fans are really supporting their athletes now because they're representing the country of Ukraine, not on the front lines. Boacek's brother is fighting in the Ukrainian army. His mother is still over there in Ukraine, and so he's fighting for them in the boxing ring over here, just like Lomachenko did last week, and just like Alexander Usyk did. So we're excited to have him back in, and Callum Walsh representing all the Irish fans, and Yeah, we're excited about just continuing the relationship with Dana and with UFC Fight Pass.
Yeah, man, it's great. It's a great show. Tune in tomorrow night. Tom, thank you so much, brother.
You
for your
never
time,
know
man.
which celebrities are going to be showing up.
Right,
there.
yeah, you better be in the house.
Tony Ferguson definitely is going to be there.
Yeah, possibly.
And also UFC star Chuck Liddell is going to be there
okay.
also.
There we go.
So we got a lot of support.
People got to be in the house.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Tom. Much appreciated.